All right, what's up, boys? So we have a list of projected LCS roster moves, and then we also have a list of projected LEC roster moves. And what we plan on doing is ranking all the moves and then talking about the moves as we go. So these are like the ones that are speculated. I mean, some of these are confirmed, some of these are leaked by, you know, Wooloo and all the people that are doing it. Travis Gafford, everyone from Dot Esports, Bloop, Jacob Wolf. Some of them are like rumors, some of them are confirmed, but we're just gonna, I mean, look, we're just going to be ranking the moves, and if they don't happen, they don't happen. We're going to try to do as many as we can. We're just going straight off. We're just going to hit this up immediately. It's going to be blue. It's going to be blue. I mean, it's so crazy to me that blue got imported. It's such like a disgrace. I hate when NA teams do this, by the way. I hate when people import like mediocre players. I think blue might have potential. Maybe. I watched him for a full year in LEC. He did nothing in that year in LEC that would make you want to import this guy. He did nothing that you would be like, oh yeah, this guy might be somebody who's worth taking a chance on. Like, at least if you look at like kha'zix, this guy, I mean, he at least looked good in LFL. So then it's like, okay, you're taking a regional league player, you're taking a chance on a regional league player, but they did look good when they played. It's like maybe you get somebody that's Vetio level where they can become really, really good within a 2-split situation. But blue was literally worse than 2 hours. Bro, I was sitting there the whole time trying to tell people that 2 hours should have been starting the whole time, bro. Where my Bulgarians at? Yeah, kha'zix was LFL MVP of Spring Split, yes. 100 Thieves Tenacity, I mean, I could put that on there. It's not really a roster change, and he's not supposed to start immediately, but we could put it on here. Then it would be 27 spots, and then we'd have to move blue down. We could move blue down to 27th right off the bat. And I'm going to go for my top roster move of LCS. In my opinion, I think the best roster move, Han Sama coming to TL. I think Han Sama is really insane. I think he's super insane. And then also when you think about putting somebody like Han Sama with CoreJJ, all these different options that they have, if you think about how CoreJJ plays and when he was at his absolute peak with Tactical, this guy would just get you early kills. There's not a better AD that could complement CoreJJ's like lane dominant style than Han Sama. Like, he plays all these champions that I think would work really well with CoreJJ, Draven, Kalista, everyone knows him for those. So yeah, I mean, I think that's my absolute number one best person coming in. So what would be potential number two? So I actually think that the Bwipo move is going to be really good for TL. I actually still think Bwipo's a really good player, even if he has like the girlfriend drama, whatever. Still think he's really insane. It'd be between Bwipo, Inspired. Oh, let me do it. Let me go at the bottom again. So this will be the second one. This will be my second lowest one. Wild Turtle to IMT. I think that this was the second worst roster move out of all these. I don't know. I think Wild Turtle had a pretty terrible year. I think that there's a lot of options that you could have went for that are like academy/amateur options that could potentially be better. I would take a shot on somebody like Value. I'd take a shot on Tomo over running with Wild Turtle again. So, and I assume that part of this roster is because FlyQuest played with PoE and Wild Turtle, so they probably wanted to play with each other again. Like, since they're friends, I could see that factoring into the decision to play together. Obviously, they had a lot of success on FlyQuest. FlyQuest ended up going second in both spring and summer of 2020. Then they went to Worlds and got third in their group. They got a surprising win over Top Esports. So I assume that is the reason. It's like they wanted to get PoE, and then PoE has some influence on who they want as an AD carry. After he signed and he goes with Turtle, he's like, yeah, I think Turtle is somebody who's consistent. I was thinking about putting coaches here. Like, obviously there's Mythic to 100 Thieves. There's the projected LS to C9. There is the biggest one, I think, is Gyota to TL. I think that's a really great move. I think Gyota is the man. So there's definitely ones like that. But yeah, TSM Mickey is the thing. That was announced. It was announced on the show. TSM Mickey is supposed to be the thing. So it's going to be import mid and Mickey X with Tactical. I actually think that's pretty good. I think Mickey X and Tactical play well together. Just when I think about like how Mickey plays the best, it seems like he's really good if you let him play the way he wants, and Tactical doesn't seem like a super demanding player. Like, he's somebody who was ready to listen to CoreJJ for 2 years. So I like the bot lane for TSM. I mean, if TSM gets a superstar mid laner, that team could actually be insane. Oh, C9 Isles. I gotta put C9 Isles on here. True. I actually think Isles is pretty good. He's not gonna be blue tier. Let's move everything down. Okay, so my second one. Oh, it's tough. There's Inspired. Yeah, I'm just gonna go second one here. It has to be, man. Bjergsen to TL. I mean, I think that Bjergsen is super valuable. Outside of just being like a player, so I expect Bjergsen to just be one of the best mid laners in LCS again. I think that maybe he won't start as one of the best. I think by the end of summer, he will be one of the 2 best mid laners in the league by far, if not just the best again. But yeah, I think Bjergsen just adds so much to the team. Like, he is literally somebody who functions as a coach in game. Like, I could be biased, but during my time playing, I thought Bjergsen was the best player I'd ever played against. And I played against a ton of Korean players and played at Worlds and all that stuff. And I just felt like Bjergsen was just the best. And just watching his career, I never feel like he's the problem. I feel like on a team with Bjergsen, Core JJ, Bwipo is also somebody who's not afraid to speak his mind, but wants to adapt to the team and wants to help out people. I don't know. I feel like this is a roster that Bjergsen could really shine with, where he can actually play for himself, bro. He doesn't actually need to tell everyone what they need to do at all times. I mean, dude, it's tough to say. Like, it might just be triple TL at the top of these. I mean, EG getting Vulcan is pretty big. I mean, I'm not sure how Summit will do. So for people that don't know who Summit is, he's obviously somebody who played on Sandbox. It's pretty much heralded as one of the best 2 top laners in Korea. Like, within Korea, it's pretty much, there's 2 top laners that always get hyped, which are Keen and Summit. I don't actually think that either of them played better holistically than Khan over the course of Summer Split, but he's somebody who definitely has an immense amount of skill. My issue with players like Summit coming to NA is, how are they going to be able to synergize with like an NA team? We've seen a lot of top lane imports come in, and the only top Korean import that actually looked insane in NA was, I guess, Someday, like early on in Dig, but then like Impact was the only one that was able to actually make it work. It's hard, man. It's hard to say, like, is Summit gonna just beast it up, or is like C9 gonna be just okay? Huni was good when he came from Europe, then he went to Korea, then came back. He looked pretty good in Spring Split with Echo Fox season 8. Season 8 summer, I thought Huni really fell off a cliff. Like, that was when the whole Huni gets solo killed every single game by everyone. Like, that was just a narrative, but he's still good. He's still Huni. But then he just started doing that for like years and years, and now Huni's just Huni. Number 3, I'm gonna just do it, dude. I actually think that this is the case. I think TL smurfed with all these decisions. I have a feeling Bwipo's going to do extremely well in NA. I mean, Bwipo is just one of those people that fits into a team, and he's so good about like understanding what he needs to do for his team to win. I think he's going to smurf on everyone. I mean, TL should be the best team by far, and I think they completely ran the offseason. And when you look at TL, the worst player on their team is Santorin, who is like a top 2 jungler every time he's been healthy for like the last 3 years. I feel like if TL doesn't completely stomp NA, then something is horribly wrong here. All right. Next up, TSM Mickey X is up here. So now we're in the area of TSM Mickey X, EG Vulcan, EG Inspired. Is there anyone else? And then like C9 Summit. That's pretty much like the area that we're in. So now like these are the next tier. How's Bwipo higher than Inspired? I mean, I just think that it'll be more impactful. I don't know. I think we'll have to see, but I could see the EG lineup not being that strong because generally Danny was not the best laner. I don't know how good JoJo will be when he's laning against top mid lane players. And then when you look at that team, like, Inspired's not the type of guy that is going to want to like cover a bunch of lanes and help out laners and bail them out when they're in bad positions. He's normally somebody who likes to farm a lot, likes to make good plays for him and keep himself ahead. And I can see that not working with EG's lineup if the laning isn't as good. I'll put Inspired 4th here. All right, so here's the question. How long until Mickey X completely breaks down and starts crying at the hands of Reginald? 3 weeks? 2 days? 5 minutes? Nah, I'll give it like a month. So I'm between Vulcan, Mickey X, and Summit. I think it's time to put Summit. I think Summit is a huge pickup for C9. The reason that I'm going like this is because I think that Mickey X, he didn't have a great time with G2, but I think he'll actually work really well with Tactical. I said that before. I think that this will be really a good bot lane pairing. If they get a stable mid laner, I think that this team should be completely nuts. Okay, what's next? What moves do I really like outside of this? So here's some moves that I'm higher on than most people. I think Pride Stalker will be insane. I really think Pride Stalker is a great player. I played with him a lot when I was in EU in season 9, and I've seen him play like obviously in LEC. I just feel like this guy needs to be unleashed. You have to just let him play like a carry. Like, he's the guy that you play him kind of the same way you'd play with a player like Dardoch, where if he wants a Blue Cane game or he wants a Rengar game and he's like, dude, those champions, if he sees the right team comp and he says, yo, if you give me Blue Cane, I'll 1v9, you always give it to this guy, and you just use this guy as like a carry on your team. Pride Stalker could literally be closer 2.0. So now, I mean, I guess the easy one is just Fudge mid. I think he'll be fine. He'll probably run it down at the beginning, but I think he'll be fine. I think he's a good enough player where he'll make do. The thing is, I wonder if Fudge will be better than PoE if we end up in like certain metas. That's the issue that I could see with Fudge is right now, like this whole year, you've always had the ability to play away from mages. But if we end up in a hard like Zoe, Orianna, Syndra, Azir meta, if we end up in a hard meta like that, like Ryze, that type of stuff, will Fudge actually be better? Like, I would assume that people like PoE, people like Bjergsen would just outperform. All right, this is going to probably be a shocking one, but I actually really like this move from FlyQuest. I think that this is a player that has a ton of potential. This could be like a huge bust, right? Like this guy could end up being worse than Blue. If like that's a possibility. I'm just gonna bet on this guy being good because when I saw him I was impressed. Next, tactical TSM, PoE for IMT. I mean, PoE is always solid. Like he's not gonna be garbage. He'll always be okay. Highest ranked roster moves this year should be Niles retiring. I mean, I feel like Golden Guardians Niles super hard because I don't believe that Niles just only retired because like he wanted to move to the East Coast and all that stuff he said. I think part of it is also he wasn't going to get good like options. Like his options were staying in academy for a whole another year. And then maybe at the end of 2022, he has the potential to make an LCS team, or he's just going to be an academy player for like 3-4 years, which is a fucked up situation to be in. And part of the reason why people are not going to take a chance on somebody like that is because he ended up looking so bad in that one split he played for Golden Guardians. I think Golden Guardians really him over. And he was one of the best tops in academy after LCS. That's the thing. The problem is people are so scarred from seeing him in LCS that no one actually gives a fuck about academy. That's the biggest problem in NA is like our academy system. There's like a few people that actually care about academy. It's like Kelsey Moser, Peter Dunn, maybe Emily Rand. Like there's a few people that care, but they're not the people that are like actually, well, I mean, EG is obviously they're using their academy talent and their amateur talent, but a lot of the other teams don't actually care. You don't see them moving up players or making changes frequently. Normally, the only way changes are made are if the LCS players are running it down so hard that they just feel like put in anyone, bro. Who else could we put in? These players are so fucking bad. We'll put in anyone. And you see FlyQuest bench their entire lineup for just like a bunch of players that they didn't even know if they were going to perform or not. Next one here. This one's going to be maybe a surprise. I'm going to go Luger for CLG. I think this guy is insane. He only played one game of LCS, which was that one throwaway 100 Thieves game that everyone was super mad about where they played their whole academy roster. But I mean, this guy was insane in solo queue for so long. He was I believe he's a Turkish player, right? Wasn't he insane in TCL as well? I feel like that's a player that can pop off. Too bad he's on CLG and he's just going to get Bud Light beheaded after like 1 week of poor performance. Contracts, JoJo, Pride Stalker. These are the three that I'm going to put next. Now, what order do I want them in? I mean, JoJo's really risky, but I think that's probably the best. I'm going to go JoJo, Contracts, Pride Stalker. Actually, I'm going to go JoJo, Pride Stalker, Contracts. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, it could be a disservice to River. Like, River is probably who I'm going to put next. The thing is, I think this Dig lineup is just doomed to fail. Blue, River, like, dude, River is going to be playing with the solo laters. I think that River's a fine thing, which I guess is kind of unfair because most of these roster moves, I'm just judging like the strength of the player and the strength of the move. But I think that like the fact that Dig got River is really bad if your solo laners are going to you're going to have Fake God and you're going to have Blue as your solo laners. Like, how are you supposed to perform? How are you supposed to play jungle with those as your solo laners? Because I feel like jungle is in pro play, the way it works is like your jungle is limited by how strong your laners are and their ability to actually do things. I don't think you can just put a jungler with bad solo laners and they'll pop off. We've seen that happen once in LCS pretty much. Like the only time we've seen this happen is like Dardoch sometimes was able to do this and then Closer did this with Golden Guardians. Those are the only times where you could actually see a jungler make it out of this situation. I just think it's just a horrible idea. Next up, I'd say Afro. I'd say Afro's a pretty solid 17th here. I think Afro was solid on Dig, honestly. It's not super exciting, but I think like he'll be fine. Obviously, you got to remember that he's repairing up with Johnson. Johnson obviously was his AD carry in 2020 on Dig. So, I mean, Tenacity, like, I don't even really want to rank Tenacity here. I mean, I guess Tenacity should be higher. From what I hear, he's not going to start at the beginning, and then he'll actually just come in eventually. Like, this is just, it's just here. It could be anywhere up in this whole area. I'm starting to think I need to put Afro lower. I mean, Isle is like, I don't know if I think Afro had a decent split. Does Isles come in and he's already better than Afro? I don't know. I'll just put him here. I mean, these moves are whatever. I mean, where could I swap Isles actually? I mean, he probably deserves to be higher than this. Probably like above Contracts River. This is probably where Isles belongs. Tenacity probably belongs somewhere else. Somewhere up here as well. Maybe Tenacity over Contracts. There we go. We're an XL genius. Next. I think I'm going to go 26 CLG Jenkins. I think this is probably the least exciting move. I don't think Jenkins was bad. I just don't think he was exceptional. I don't think he'll be able to do much on CLG here. Next, I think Dig Biofrost doesn't sound that great to me. All right. Wow, and Ole. I mean, Ole like has some like hype around him or some new hype because he was like having like some just issues with his mentality around competing and stuff. And recently he went back to Korea. And he got top 10 on the Korean solo queue ladder, which I think is normally one of the best judges of mechanical skill as far as solo queue goes. So I would say that he deserves some respect there, because a lot of players couldn't do that. Like, I don't think Afro could go to Korea and get top 10. I don't think many of these supports here could go to Korea and get top 10. Maybe Mickey, if he was like in a solo queue like grind, a beast mode. Maybe Isles. I mean, Vulcan did it before, so I guess Vulcan could. But like, that to me, I think deserves some respect. That's why I would value him over Biofrost, because we haven't seen these guys in a while anyway. They both looked pretty decent at times when they were in LCS, and then recently Ole has actually outperformed in solo queue, which is all they're able to play. What do I want here? I'm going to go CLG Poom. I think this is probably the most exciting here. And then I will go GG Lost. Nice name, bro. You're definitely not going to get memed. And then we have Hanser, Palafox, and Ole. I think I'm going to go Hanser, Palafox. All right, so let's read this. Let's see if there's any last minute adjustments I want to make. So this is what we got. This is going to be our player rankings. No, this isn't player rankings. This is roster move rankings, I should say. Okay. Hatsama to TL, Bjergsen to TL, Bwipo to TL, Inspire to EG, Summit to C9, Mickey X to TSM, Vulcan to EG, Fudge role swapping mid, Tukoil to Fly. I think it's like supposed to be like Tuko-E or something like that. Tactical to TSM, PoE to IMT, Luger to CLG, Jojo, EG, Pride Stalker to Golden Guardians, Isles to C9, Tenacity to 100 Thieves, Contracts to CLG, River to Dig, Afro to Fly, Poom to CLG, Lost to Golden Guardians, Ole to Golden Guardians, Palafox to CLG, Hanser to Fly, Biofrost to Dig, Jenkins to CLG, Wild Turtle to IMT Puke, and Blue to Dig Absolutely Gross. How come the players who won Scouting Grounds are not picked up by LCS like EU Masters for LEC? Because no one actually takes Scouting Grounds seriously. You had the team No Org, right? No Org ended up winning. What was that? That was Viper, Anda, Big, Value, and Five Fire. None of them got picked up. And they were all... And they literally were that. They had no org. They don't even have an org. They don't even have buyouts, and no team is gonna like even take a chance. I can understand the players that were LCS a while ago, them having like a bad rap, because that kind of happens in EU as well, where if a player was in LEC and then they go down to ERL, even if they do well in ERL, people aren't as excited about them. But like, what about Five Fire, bro? Really? Five Fire doesn't deserve an LCS team, or like even an academy team? He doesn't deserve like a good academy spot? I can't believe it. Value, the main thing about Value is just he's older. He's like 24 years old, and that's a crime in competitive play. Like, if you're 24, you're just dead. Sure, if you're 24, you're like in your physical prime, and you're like one of the best, you're able to be one of the best NFL players in the world, or one of the best NBA players in the world, but apparently your fingers like fall off and you can't play video games anymore. I mean, there's a bunch of players that I think I think Value deserves a shot. I really think Value is good. I played solo queue with Value for years. He's always been good. He's one of the best players to get on your team. He's consistent. He's smart about the game. If you've listened to him in a team environment, he shot calls too. Like, he understands like rotations, where he needs to be, which is kind of underrated for an AD carry. I feel like a lot of AD carries don't actually understand like what they need to do when their wave is in a bad spot, or like when they can roam as an AD carry. Like, having your duo roam mid can just win you a game. We saw this at Worlds. I think he's super underrated. That guy deserves a shot, 100%. Like, there's just no downside, and he has good mechanics too. So it's not like he's like old and he's like the old wise shot caller, but his hands are falling off or something like that. He's got good mechanics and he's pretty smart about the game. Do EU? I got EU next, bro. Look at this. Boom. I've got it already. I spent a little bit of time preparing for the stream, trying to just get everything ready.